Hi everyone and welcome to an exclusive podcast with myself and Ste Plunk from Redmen TV. Obviously the news is broken about Jordan Henderson potentially moving to the Saudi League to join Steven Gerrard's Al Ettifaq. Ste, tell me about it. What are your thoughts on this crazy news?
It's come as a bit of a shock, the timing of it, like 11 o'clock on a Wednesday night. I'm not overly surprised. If you look at the signings we've made in the summer and you look at the players we've brought in, you look at the emergence of Curtis Jones. I've been saying since the end of the season, Curtis Jones is going to save us 50 million quid. And they've come after me for saying that as well, by the way. But, it's true. And the thing with Henderson is it just turned 33. He would have gone looking for assurances about how much game time he's going to have. Where does he fit in within the squad? Everybody that's sort of involved in football and talking about Liverpool Football Club have got him heir apparent to James Milner's role. And that might not be what he wants. He's 33 years old. He's beasted the gym this summer. He's got himself into really, really good shape. But the lads who've come in haven't come in to sit on the bench and play second fiddle to Jordan Henderson. And that's no disrespect to the lad. He's been absolutely magnificent for the football club. But as with all of the players that you and I have grown to love, mate, over the years, their careers come to an end. We said to Steven Gerrard a few years ago, which was really hard to do. And let's be honest, whilst Jordan Henderson's been good, he's not been Steven Gerrard. But we got over that. We came through it. We won trophies. So you and I have been watching football for a long time, mate. And we've seen Rush, Dalglish, Souness. We've seen them all go out the door, mate. And we live on. Jordan Henderson deserves all the plaudits and all the superlatives and all the credit that's going to come his way, because he's been arguably, behind Graham Souness, the best Liverpool captain I've seen. I think he's surpassed Steven Gerrard in that regard as well. So I'm not surprised. I'm not disappointed. I think the timing's right. And as I tweeted earlier, at 33, if you're getting offered, if it's correct, it's alleged that it's £36.4 million a year, then why would you not do it?
No, it's bang on the money. I think it's something like 700 grand a week, something daft like that I've seen. Listen, it's 4 times the wages. It's being reported just now by David Ornstein. It's 4 times the wages. It's a life-changing opportunity. Obviously, the Jordan's already on massive wages anyway. But I kind of feel like, does this go against everything we think about Jordan Henderson now? Obviously, I don't want to get into it too politically, but he's come out in the past and he's been the perfect role model. He's been the perfect professional as well. He's also raised a lot of concerns about human rights. He's also raised a lot of concerns about the LGBTQ in these type of countries, let's be honest. Does that go against everything he said if he does make the move, or does it get forgotten about in 12 months' time?
Sometimes these players get put on the spot with regards to Harry Kane. I'm not going to wear the rainbow armband. I'm definitely going to wear the rainbow armband, and then I'm not going to wear the rainbow armband. So it shifts depending on who you're speaking to. They're all media trained. They all have to kind of say the right thing at the right time. I don't think anybody in football would look at it and say, actually, he's a mega hypocrite, because he's not. Because what was going on in Qatar isn't necessarily what's going on when he goes and joins Steven Gerrard. That there's differences. You know, everywhere's got different social graces. Everywhere's got different things that you have to learn to live with. It's just a decision at the age of 33 that brings his career to a close. The money obviously compensates for the difference and the change in the competition. It's not the Premier League. But you could make a case to say the Premier League's too much for him now. There were games last season you and I sat and watched where Leicester at home, Dewsbury Hall just run off him and scored. And that happens. Legs go. Jamie Carragher came back after the summer, mate, and just couldn't do it. And it happens. And I'm not going to sit here and I'm never going to jump on the bandwagon and criticise Jordan Henderson, because he is a legend. End of. There's no debate to have with that, and kind of prepared to argue that to the nth degree, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. It's evolution. We move on. We've got some top quality lads in the club now. We'll probably add. This will probably make us be more keen to add one more. But he was behind Fabinho. He was behind Basetic. He was behind Szoboszlai. He was behind McAllister. He's behind Curtis Jones. He's probably behind Thiago. But Harvey Elliott will tell you he should play in front of him. I've just given you 7 names. That's no legacy for a club captain to go out on. die on his sword as 8th choice player in Liverpool's midfield. He knew this day would come, and Steven Gerrard's given him a brilliant way to end his career with more money than he could ever imagine he could earn.
Yeah, and I suppose with the link with Romeo Lavia as well, I think that might be unsettling as well, because he's probably thinking, where do I actually fit in now? Listen, I've had my say on Thiago. As much as I love Thiago as a footballer and everything that he brings, I could watch him all day. He's unbelievable. I didn't think I'd ever see him in a Liverpool shirt, and I've had the luxury to. I just don't want Henderson to be a passenger for a year. I just think it's a sour way to go out after everything he's done for the club. So it does kind of feel like Gerrard's given him the perfect opportunity to bow out with respect on his name, as rightfully so, by the way, because like you've said, the perfect captain, the perfect professional. He's won everything with the club. Arguably the greatest ever Liverpool captain. Near enough 500 games. It's hard to argue, isn't it?
It is. The sad thing is, he's not going to get, if he goes, he's not going to get the send-off he deserves. Yeah. You know, he comes to the end of the season and it was all about Bobby, and it should have been all about Bobby. You know my feelings on Roberto Firmino. Henderson won't get that time in front of the fans, which is quite sad, because he deserves it. But that can't be the reason why he doesn't do it, if that makes sense. You know, he's got to look at the picture. He's got to look at the project. He's got to look at, you're quite right, he's got to do this with some integrity. To watch him sort of warming up on the touchline every week at Anfield, wondering whether he's going to get on, isn't a way to bring his Liverpool career to an end for me. He deserves better than that, or he's not going to get better than that, because the lads around him are fitter, stronger, quicker, more mobile, more hungry. I've just tweeted there about, you know, we've lost him potentially. If we do lose him, and we've lost Milner, we're going to need some leaders to emerge from the pack, some hungry young blood that's going to drive this club forward. Because, quoting Graham Souness, Liverpool didn't have a problem all those years ago coming back in the summer, from the summer, and wanting to do it again. That's not the case anymore. That those days are different. You know, they're not Liverpool fans. If you go through the squad, we've got 2 genuine Liverpool fans, 3 if you include Harvey Elliott, who will play for the badge. The other lads come here to play. They learn to love the club. They learn to love the supporters. They learn to love the city, and they take all that on board. But at the end of the day, you know, Sadio Mane is not a Liverpool fan. Mo Salah is not a Liverpool fan. Jordan Henderson is not a Liverpool fan. That carries a lot of weight when it comes to making decisions about when is the right time to make the decision. If he turns down Gerrard's offer, then the next person to offer him could be Norwich in the Premier League at the end of his contract. Sorry, in the Championship as opposed to the Premier League. That's a world of difference that makes no bearing on his life, doesn't change his family's life, doesn't change his children's kids' legacies. You know, he's a clever man, he's an astute man. He'll just invest that money, and the Henderson sort of family tree will benefit from this. So I can see more reasons. I can't see any reasons not to do it if you're in Jordan Henderson's shoes, other than the fact he's fiercely proud of what he's achieved at the football club, and this might not have been the way he wanted to do it.
Yeah, do you kind of feel like, so from looking from my point of view over the summer, and obviously the social media side of things, Jordan looks like he's in the best condition I've ever seen him, to be honest with you. Yeah. And this is just from obviously a visual assessment. So obviously he looks like he's shredded. Looks like he's put the graft in over the summer. I kind of felt like that was to come back and prove a point, to say, hang on a minute, I'm still here. But is this a case of he might have already knew that this was going to happen when Gerrard went over there, do you think? Or do you think this is a case of, actually, we'll sweep in now, and it's sort of a last-minute thing?
So Gerrard's gone to unfamiliar territory. He's gone to something that he doesn't know. He needs somebody around that he can trust. Gary McAllister will go with him, obviously. Michael Beale's gone to Rangers, so that can't happen. Jordan Henderson is a good man to take to a project like that because of the way he conducts himself. Slightly controversial comment here, Dom. When you go and shred yourself, doesn't make you run any faster than you did the year before.
Agreed.
If anything, you'll use up your lactic acid a bit quicker, and life might be a bit more difficult. So, was he compensating for how he felt physically last season? I don't know. Fair play to him, because at 33, it takes some effort to get to that stage. He looks like a UFC fighter with his 6-pack and all that, doesn't he? I think the writing's on the wall, and that's kind of our last hurrah in terms of trying to get yourself physically fit to compensate for the things that desert you as you get to 33, 34 years old, when the legs go a little bit and you don't have the same reaction times and things like that. You're right. The point you made at the start, he's played over 500 career games, most of those in the Premier League, in arguably the most labour-intensive midfield that you could play for in the Jurgen Klopp side. And what he didn't have technically made up for with endeavour and work rate and delivering the system perfectly. You couldn't have had a better man on that right-hand side when we won, first of all, the Champions League, and then we won the Premier League. You wouldn't have swapped him for anybody, because he just did what the system needed it to do. And had we put him on the market, nobody signs him to play in footballing sides, but everybody signs him to play in systemic sides. So, and that's not me disrespecting him, because that's really hard to do. And he was so good at it. And everybody around him had to match him and meet and come up to meet him. And when you can't deliver that anymore, as a person, that must be grating on him, thinking that 2 years ago, there's no way that kid runs off me. 2 years ago, I'd have smashed him off the park. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I squared up to Diego Costa. I was ready to fight with everybody. But your body changes and your ability to do things. I mean, that injury he had a couple of years ago was horrendous, mate. So that'd take an awful lot out of you in terms of your recovery and your ability to move in the same way that he did. So I think if it happens, the time is right. It's by no means set in stone and going to happen. And if it doesn't, I'm also happy for him to stay at the football club and do whatever he does till the end of his contract. But I kind of think the writing's on the wall, mate, and I think the time is now for him to look after his family. One last big payout in his career, and we will all remember him really, really fondly for all the things he's done for the football club. And the humane things he's done as well, mate, outside of football. Yeah,
a lot of them things get forgotten about, don't they? And you do have to look at him, and he's come a long way since the Jordan Henderson that was being forced to Fulham, hasn't he? You know, he's gone on to win everything under this, with this famous badge on his chest, and he's worn it as if it was his own Sunderland badge. Let's be honest, he hasn't looked a day out of place. And like you said, what he lacked in technical ability, he made up for it in everything else in his game. Okay, so if this happens, do we think Jordan Henderson bows out with the respect on his name, or do we think it could come back to bite him on the arse? Because from my side of things, if he goes, like we've said, it's the right time for him to go, whether it's Saudi, whether it's anywhere. In my opinion, he's towards the end of the season, I kind of thought, like, he's not really impacting games the way he was. You mentioned Dewsbury Hall for Leicester just running off him as if it was nothing, and that would never have happened previously. He gets a lot of unfair criticism, Jordan Henderson. Now, I don't know whether that is just because he took the armband from Steven Gerrard. He was never going to be Steven Gerrard, and the criticism he gets online it's just painful at times just to read. And I know it's online, and I know these accounts are like Gerrard's 8 for life and all that nonsense, but over his time at this football club, he's so underrated, not only as a footballer, but as a captain. And look what he's won.
That'll change. That will change when people realise what we haven't got. You look at the push to get Gini out about the club from the Twitterverse, right? Let's be honest, mate. The Twitterverse are not your match-going Liverpool fans. The feelings between those that take to social media to rinse their own players, which I'll never understand that and never do it. El Hadj Juff is the only one I'll publicly criticise, and I think with just cause. He'll get his time, he'll get his plaudits, he'll get all the things that he should have done. He will be remembered well. Ronnie Whelan was kind of a player that went under the radar for Liverpool Football Club. That you know, I've spoken to several ex-pros who said, when I do my first 11, Steve, I had Mark Wright in the studio, and he did his Liverpool 11, and he said, you ask any of the boys from that era, Ronnie Whelan is the first name on the team sheet because he was nasty. He'd have a pop at you, and he was a winner. It's in him to be a winner, and it's in Jordan Henderson to be a winner too. And the point you made about the Fulham move, where we were supposed to give money and Jordan Henderson for Clint Dempsey, and he just stood up to the challenge, stood up to the notion that he wasn't good enough, proved everybody wrong. and he'll always have that, and he'll always be respected, and he'll always be loved by the Liverpool fans that matter. I couldn't give a toss about the idiots on social media that dig him out week in, week out. I've looked through some of the responses to some of the tweets that have gone out sort of in the last 12 hours since this has become like public news, and these people embarrass themselves. So in answer to your question, Jordan Henderson will know that the people that count, that mean something, the Jamie Carragher coming on with the bottle of champagne and that when he won the league, and, you know, having a crack with him, and the people that it means something to, and the people's opinions that you would want, we'll say to Jordan Henderson, well done, lad, you did a great job there. You are a club legend. You can't win the things you've won playing four European finals in total. You can't do that. You just can't be that guy and not be a legend of the football club. And Liverpool's greatest ever achievement was to redress the balance between winning the league 30 years ago and then winning it when they did win it, to bridge that gap. And he's the guy that lifted the trophy, and he's the guy that took what Jurgen Klopp wanted to do onto the pitch and delivered it perfectly. So that in itself will be something that will give him all of the gravitas he needs to go and look at the rest of his career and say, do you know what? I went to Liverpool Football Club. I proved them wrong. I did it. I lifted all those trophies. I'll go down as a club legend, and the door will always be open for me to come back as a friend and as a member of our really cheesy member of the Liverpool family. But he is, because all the ex-pros, I spoke to Ryan Babel, didn't have the biggest ever Liverpool career, but still loves the football club, and they all do. And Jordan Henderson will have more reason to do that than most, and more reason to be warmly sort of appreciated. And when he's retired, he'll be a welcome addition to the Legends games, and and those fans will show him what they mean to the football club for sure.
Definitely. Right, Steve, let's leave it there. And, you know, I just want to end this with a message for Jordan Henderson. Obviously, he'll never listen to this. He might listen to this, who knows. But what you've done for this football club will never be forgotten by these fans who actually have stuck by you through thick and thin, stuck by the team through thick and thin. And, you know, we'll be forever grateful in what you've done and what you've achieved for this Liverpool shirt, from taking us by the scruff of the neck to a team that didn't have a plan, from going nowhere to winning leagues, winning Champions Leagues, winning domestic trophies and finals year in, year out. You've been integral to this, as well as the manager. It's took a captain like you to stand up, be tall, be strong, and actually own it. So, like I said, we'll be forever grateful for you, Jordan. Steve, thanks for your time on this, mate. Whether he goes, whether he stays, we'll find out, I'm sure, by the weekend. That's what I think, anyway. But again, if he stays, excellent. But I believe it's the right time for him to go with this opportunity, like you've said. So thanks for your time tonight, mate. And it's good to speak to you.
Take it easy, mate. See you soon.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks to everyone for listening in to today's podcast, and thank you to our amazing guests. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. Don't forget to follow us on social media, twitter.com/The Road End Pod, and on Instagram, Instagram/The Road End Pod.